What's up, people of YouTube? This is Driftor bringing you guys another video to my channel, and today we are talking about World War II. We're going to talk about where World War II falls. For me, this is kind of the final verdict for World War II. Was it a good game? Did I enjoy the year for the game? How does it line up in comparison to other Call of Duties? And this one, by far, is probably the weirdest one for me, honestly. In comparison to all other Call of Duties, I've been pretty straightforward in knowing generally how that game is going to work out in that year, whether it was going to be good or bad. I'm just going to go ahead and say that when the year first started, I was genuinely enjoying the game. I thought it was a lot of fun. Then as time kind of went on, we figured out what the hidden camo was. I wasn't really down with that. Didn't really see a reason to grind in that aspect. By this point, the maps started to get kind of repetitive, and the game was starting to feel kind of stale and kind of slow. Like, what was the reason of me playing? I didn't really have one, honestly. And that's kind of where it all began. And then, as we know, Fortnite popped off, and I started playing Fortnite in September of, I'm pretty sure, September, October of 2017. But with all the new games coming out, it was just kind of like, oh, this is fun, but all these games are here. Fortnite probably won't be around much longer anyway. And so I was playing, Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and stuff like that. Well, by January, actually late December even, I was hitting Fortnite pretty hard. It was all I was playing. We know how that happened. Fortnite has come, and it is still here. Huge. I still love Fortnite, but it has taken the drive for Call of Duty World War II right out of my body, right out of my soul. Now, since late December, early January, there had been times when I'd jump back over to World War II and I'd play for spurts, week or two at a time, something along those lines. And I was enjoying it for the most part, running into the very similar problem of it was just stale, and it got better as time went, and it's much better in terms of its content now. It's not nearly as stale as it once was, but just something about it. Something as time went on, the gameplay, the way that it felt, the way the gunfights were, they just didn't mesh with me. I started off really strong with World War II. I was doing really good. I was enjoying it, and then just as it went on, I just lost that drive for it. And at first I thought, damn, maybe I'm falling out of Call of Duty. Maybe I'm not good at it anymore. Maybe the excessive amount of Fortnite just ruined that for me, and this is actually a good game that I'm just not good at. Well, then I hop on to the Blackout Beta, and that is a completely different story. I get on the Blackout Beta, and I am just annihilating people for the most part. So I have no doubt in my mind that it's not a lack of skill, it's more so the game itself it just isn't for me. I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't think the game is bad, because I really don't. I feel like it is a much better game now than what it was when it first came out. I like the idea of the headquarters. I think it was really cool. I wish that they still pushed that into the oncoming games. They just needed to work on the way that the way the headquarters was and the way that it loaded and stuff. But I think the headquarters was a great idea. It's just the maps and the guns. The maps, guns, and the setting, I think, really killed it. I want to say mostly the maps. Obviously, starting out, we only had 9 maps, which is really, really sucky. It was bad. And then if we fast forward, not only did we only have 9 maps, some of the way that those maps flowed was just downright awful. It just did not flow good at all. Some of the most fun that I had in this game, though, I will say, was the war mode and sniping. I liked both of those quite a bit. I think that the gunplay overall was fun, but the guns themselves were very, very, very boring. I liked what they tried to do with some of the camos, with like the black and gold, or the wood grain and the gold and the etching and stuff. I really did appreciate that, and I liked it. I would like to see that be a stronger thing moving forward in terms of variants, but there needed to be more cool variants. I liked how they had the heroic concept, and I was fine with that. Speaking of that, we'll get into supply drops here in a second. I like how they had the heroic concept, but why was there only like some guns only have one heroic weapon? When the game first came out, most guns only had one heroic weapon. I want there to be content. Give me tons and tons of content. But the guns themselves were pretty boring. The camos really were a struggle. I liked the diamond camo. This is probably my second favorite diamond camo out of any Call of Duty, so I'll give it that. I really liked gold camo in this game. I thought it looked nice. Chrome camo was such a letdown. We have been asking for Chrome camo in a Call of Duty for so many years. We didn't want it like this. We didn't want the Chrome camo to be the pinnacle of the best camos you can possibly get. That's a mistake in my eyes. The game also promised a lot of things that just didn't happen at launch, like the way that the headquarters was supposed to work with the invasions that I believe are now in the game. Still to this day, I have not had one of those happen to me yet, but where there's bombers flying over that you got to shoot down. We didn't get Emblem Editor and Paint Shop for a very long time. For a little while there, we were able to download people's emblems. They took that away. It's a frustrating thing. Going back to Boots on the Ground, I think it was a good start. I don't think it was a bad game at its core. I think there's things that they need to work on. I think there were some connectivity issues. But overall, I just think World War II got boring. I think that's what hurt it the most. Boring map design. If they had more maps to make up for some of the maps being bad, then we would have been fine. But boring and map design, by the time the first map packs came out, a lot of people really didn't care anymore, including myself. Even though I will say DLC wasn't horrible in this game, but I would say it was iffy. It was 50-50. There was a couple DLC packs that I was really fond of. There were some of them that I was not fond of. Let's talk about the campaign. Campaign I thought was top-notch. I think campaign was a little short, but it was one of the best campaigns in the Call of Duty franchise, period. Looked great. It felt great. I felt the losses. I really liked the campaign on this. I would recommend anybody to play it. Zombies. Zombies was a very cool idea going into it. This is where a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me here. Zombies was fun, but way too complicated for the casual player. And I couldn't get into it because of that reason. I would get into these zombies maps where I can tell they were meant for people who knew what the hell they were doing. And it was confusing as I miss the good old days of the old Treyarch zombies where you're just surviving waves and trying to stay alive with the ability to do these little side Easter eggs. And I get that they have to expand on that to stay relevant. I understand that. But they also left the casual zombies player base in the dust for the most part while doing that. I will say, though, I don't think I made one of these videos for Infinite Warfare, but I will say that Infinite Warfare Zombies, in my opinion, was spectacular on at least 3 of like the 6 maps that they came out with in total. Absolutely loved the zombies in that game. It was fun. It felt like you could just play to survive. You could pack a punch weapons really easy, and I appreciated that. Going back to the World War II zombies, you could really feel that they were pushing the scariness of it, and I really like that. I think that's cool. I loved the gore. I loved the Nazi scientist aspect of it. I loved the story part of it. I really did. But it was just overcomplicated. Some of the things you were fighting were way too weird to be in a zombie game, but maybe if I just took the time to learn those a little bit better, I'd be okay with it. But that's kind of my take on zombies. Not my favorite. Wasn't awful. But it's whatever. I mean, could have been worse. Could have been better, in my opinion. A lot of people probably really did enjoy it. Now let's talk about the overall feeling of the supply drop system in this game. This is something I said I was going to mention. Most people are probably going to be all up in arms because supply drops just have a negative stigma. Oh, you said supply drops. That means that they're bad. I probably have a more positive opinion of supply drops just because I know they're not going anywhere. I probably have a more positive opinion than most people do when it comes to this. I think supply drops were fine in World War II for the most part. A little bit expensive in the collections for what you earned in salvage, so it's not quite as good as the MWR system, and I don't expect it to be because they had 2 games that year. They were making revenue from 2 games. It's not going to be that simple moving forward, guys. Sorry to tell you. But I do like the way that they did it with the variants. I like how they dropped events every like 2 weeks towards the end. From like June moving forward, it was like every 2 weeks after an event ended, we were getting a new one. I like that. Keep it up, Treyarch. I trust you, and Vaughn we trust. Keep that going. Keep that trend going. I'm fine with that. I like the way that they were dropping guns. I didn't really have an issue with it, but here's where we disagree. Me and probably most of the community. I propose an idea that instead of just putting these new guns in supply drops where you have to hope that you can get them, just put them in the store. Just make me pay $10 for a gun. I'll do it. Make me pay $20 and I'll do it. I do not care. The guns I don't really want that badly, I'll leave it up to supply drops to get. You know, like I don't understand. People want to complain because of pay to win. But then they want to complain because they don't make them pay to win. They put them in supply drops. And then people are like, well, why don't they just make the the guns for free and put them in the game for free and let us unlock them for free, even though it took them time and effort to make said guns. That's not how the world works. I get that they are probably making a stupid amount of money off supply drops that definitely overdoes the amount of cost it takes to make these guns. I get that. But it's just like with DLC. Make all DLC free. I mean, honestly, DLC should be free, I think. The core DLC should be free, but they should profit off of skins and customization. If Call of Duty, I don't want to make this a whole video about ranting about supply drops, but anyways, supply drop system in World War II wasn't bad, but it could have been a little bit better in terms of just making it easier to access the guns. I'd probably give the supply drop system an 8 out of 10, honestly. I was okay with it. If you put the time in to play the game, you were going to be able to get most of the weapons pretty easily. I don't think there was much of a challenge there with that. Although I will say, supply drop system in terms of leveling up, absolute shit that after you reach 10th prestige that you do not unlock a supply drop every 5 levels like you do beforehand. If we are prestiging, we deserve rewards for putting in so much time into the game. People who put time into the game deserve to be rewarded for it. This thing that they tried to pull with the dumb uniforms and the camos on the guns does not make up for losing supply drops. Every 100 levels or 200 levels, you get a new uniform and a tiger camo that they've already remade 15 times in one game. It's a poor excuse for prestige rewards. We should have been getting gun variants. We should have been getting, you know, every 200 levels getting a token that gives us the ability to unlock a new gun, whether it's a variant of one we want or a new DLC gun. That should be up to us to decide. We deserve to be rewarded for prestiging. That gives us a reason to grind the game. Every 5 levels, we deserve a supply drop. Honestly, it should go from being every 5 levels of getting a supply drop from the regular version to it being every, like, 5 levels you get 2 supply drops because you've been prestiging. I mean, you deserve to be rewarded. That's my rant in terms of prestiges. I like prestiging, I like grinding games, and they don't really give me a reason to do it as of late. But once again, Treyarch, I have faith that you'll do us right and not screw us over completely, because I'm sure there's still going to be things I don't like about it. But that's kind of where I'm sitting with World War II. My final verdict on supply drops, 8 out of 10. Final verdict on multiplayer, when it started, I probably would have given it an 8 out of 10. As it sits right now, probably a 6. Probably a solid 6 out of 10. The maps flow weird. It's boring. I lack the reason to play it. I sit here, I streamed it the other night. I'll sit here and I'll play it and I'll be like, why am I playing this? I'm getting upset. I am not getting anything out of this. What's the point? Why are we doing this? A new Call of Duty comes out in about a month. Why am I grinding this? That's the feeling that I get when I play World War II. And I've never had that feeling before for a Call of Duty in the past. It makes me really sad. So yeah, multiplayer, probably a 6 out of 10. Campaign, 8.5 out of 10. Really good. Definitely recommend it. Zombies, probably another 6 out of 10, to be completely honest. Or actually, I'd probably give it a 5.5 out of 10 for zombies. So, I mean, not the best. I give supply drops a rating by themselves because they're such a big entity in this game. Now, obviously, moving forward into Black Ops 4, they have the Battle Royale mode. So, whenever I do my final verdict of the game, which won't be until the end of 2019, I'll go off of Battle Royale, Zombies, multiplayer, and I think there's an unknown mode that we're not aware of yet, and then also supply drops. So I'm counting supply drops in there because they're such a big part of the game and how the multiplayer works. Because if we look at Black Ops 3's supply drop system, I'm going off on a tangent in this video, but Black Ops 3's supply drop system was awful for the consumer. It was so bad. The chances of you getting a gun that you want just not happening. Absolutely unlucky. I could dive into all the money I spent on guns that I never got and still don't have. But the game itself, Black Ops 3 at its core, in my opinion, was one of the best Call of Duties we ever got. I would say it's a top 3 Call of Duty for sure. Definitely a top 5. But the supply drop system was bad. It was so bad. I'd give it a 3 out of 10. It was such a bad supply drop system, guys. I can't get over that. But I will say, this is the double-edged sword that comes with this. the feeling of opening one of them supply drops and having that gun that you wanted for so long, or even better, I never got to experience this, my broke ass, having that gun that just dropped a couple hours ago that you just spent $600 opening supply drops for sitting in front of your face. It's such a bittersweet feeling. And that's something that supply drop system was able to capture that none of the other ones did. But still, regardless, I don't want the supply drops to be like that. I want them to be more fair, but also realistic, because they're going to put guns in the game. They're going to make them hard to get because it costs money to make them, and they're going to want people to pay something to have them. I would be okay, like I said, with them just scaling the value of said weapon in the store, making us pay for them. Pistols, $5. LMGs, shotguns, launchers, $10. Snipers, SMGs, ARs, $20. I'll pay for them. Put them in the store, I'd buy them, 100%. Melee weapons, like $2. I would definitely, I'd do it. I'd pay for them. I'd be fine with it. And if I didn't want to pay for it, then I'd wait for supply drops. To the broke people that can't afford it, you got supply drops. Leave the collections in there, grind for it. I don't really think it's that pay to win, honestly. The guns usually aren't that great from the regular guns. Anyway, okay. This is a really long video. Definitely gone off on a tangent. Let me get my overall rating calculated here for World War II. I gave Zombies a 5.5. I gave the campaign 8.5, I think. Yeah, I think I gave it an 8.5. We're gonna roll with an 8.5. Gave multiplayer a 6, and we gave the supply drop system an 8. So overall, that puts World War II at about a 7 out of 10. Honestly, I'd say that's about right. 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. I think it's just under, for me personally. It probably falls somewhere either just over or just under a top 5 Call of Duty overall. Probably just under. I mean, I could say I definitely enjoyed Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2 for sure, Black Ops 3. I mean, it might be my 5th favorite Call of Duty. Black Ops 1. No, it's my 6th favorite. What am I thinking? So yeah, it's probably about number 6 on my list. I need to make an updated list, actually. That's probably a good idea. Another video coming soon, updated list and opinion of all Call of Duties. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Twitter and Facebook links will be down in the description as always. I do apologize for the obnoxiously long video, but I just wanted to voice my total opinion and the final verdict for Call of Duty World War II. Anyways, guys, deuces.